Thank you for being with us today. We're very happy to have you here because we're a small community which has started since September, and we're a fractional leadership community based in Turkey, and we have around 30 members from HR, marketing, sales, customer experience, but not operations. So so we have some struggles here to explain what really fractional leadership is, what the outcomes are, how we work, how we operate. We're trying to explain in every medium, in every event, what we do, what we can do. We're developing some projects in the region, and we're really inspired by your work and your community. I've been following you for some time, and I've read nearly all of your posts. I've watched your podcasts or videos, and we'll have like around 1 hour, and if there's some time, we'll have some questions at the end. So please, let's have a small introduction from you, what you do, and how you started Fractionals United.
Sure. Thank you for having me. So I spent 2 decades in the publishing industry, and it was going through a lot of upheaval and turmoil. After one too many layoffs and reorgs, I fell into what now would be called fractional work. Back then, it was just like freelance consulting, whatever, right? I actually worked through Upwork, which back then was better than it is today. And I was basically running a lot of small businesses at the same time because I was a fractional COO. At one point, I actually went full-time with one of my clients, which sometimes happens, like we worked well together. They needed me. I wanted a break and, enjoyed working with them. And they were a small niche recruiter. And once I got everything in place, I was too expensive for them to keep me full-time long-term. So in the beginning of 2023, we decided to part ways, and I came back to fractional work for the first time in 2 years. And I found that it was very different than the last time I was looking for work. On the one hand, it was gaining popularity. Like there were more people who knew what fractional was. There were even some large articles about fractional, but it also seemed harder and lonelier, which I now understand, but then I didn't. It was just like, this is different. Upwork was no longer viable. And I'm an introvert. So I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. I don't want to do this on my own. This was like, post-COVID or towards the end of COVID. So I had joined some really great online operations communities. So I started looking for one for fractionals because I'm like, as an introvert, online communities are perfect. You can engage at the level you want. You can meet people. You can learn. And I couldn't quite find one for fractional leaders. There were pseudo communities, meaning there were like communities that were someone's pipeline, but they weren't communities for the sake of community. And so I decided to see if there was interest, because I'm not cut out to just sit around and look for work. It's just, I was going to go crazy. So I needed a project. I needed something to do. So I decided to just experiment. This was January 7th, 2023 that I had the idea. That evening, I was Googling, looking for community, couldn't find it, decided to see if there was interest. So I literally just created a simple Slack MVP, a simple landing page, which, we haven't gotten far from, and put out a message on LinkedIn and in some of the communities I belonged to see if there was interest. I had no idea. By the end of that weekend, over 50 people were like, yes, please. And for 2 years, it went from 0 to 2.5 years to 15,000 members. And then I had to make the decision to start charging a little bit just because I hadn't paid for myself in 2 years, and it cost money. So now we're smaller, but that was the original journey, which was crazy.
That's a big growth trajectory.
Yeah, I did not know what I was getting myself into, let me tell you.
Well, how did it go up to that scale? I mean, did you try to promote fractional leadership, or did you promote community, or did it just happen by itself?
It was a combination of things. I was doing outreach on LinkedIn originally and then had my team do it. People do refer others. And honestly, because it was cheap and there wasn't anything, well, it was free. It wasn't cheap. It was free to begin with. There was no barrier to entry. I made it really easy to join and refer other members. And there wasn't any community for fractionals. And, I made it it was all about community. It was all about finding others like you, deciding if this path was for you, learning from each other. So I it was always community first. It was always easy to join. It was always easy to refer other people in. And I made very clear guidelines from day one. Like when I realized this was a thing, I actually talked to some of the community managers that I belonged to just to learn, right? Because I didn't know what to do or what not to do. And one of the best things I was told was have community guidelines before you need them, right? Because you want something to point people to. So we are very strongly anti-spam, anti-promotion. Every channel, we're in Slack, so every channel has a purpose, and we moderate and maintain that. So it's very easy for people to decide where to pay attention and where not to, because they're not interested. And then we evolved, right? Like as people needed something, like at some point we got channel leaders, we have lots of events and resources, we evolved. But the thing that was there from the beginning is that I made it easy to join, right? And people referred others because they saw the value. It was always community first, no promotion, no spam, right? Like and if someone tried, they were out or they were moderating.
You didn't even allow like native advertising or
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh, right.
And that's the other thing. It's like, it's only for the fractionals. It's not a marketplace. There is one channel where people can promote. And at one point, like I did have like a head of sponsorship, but like the sponsors weren't in there. You know what I mean? It's like now I actually have experts in there, but it's very guided. Like members are not the product. I don't let people advertise or promote to them inside the community. It was never, we all have so much at us all the time. Like that's not what Fractionals United is about, right? It's for people to connect, collaborate, and learn from each other. And I want them to be able to engage at whatever level they want to, when they want to, and not feel like and people actually, we've had very few people in there for the wrong reason, but if somebody misbehaves, others will like raise their hand and come to me or my team. People help us protect what we've built because they like that it's not spammy or promotional.
Yeah, that's very important. Community is a very trendy word. It's a buzzword since like 10 years or something. And even like social media is like community. That's what they say. But actually, it's like what people bring in. When you go out of the room, if it's going, if issues are like flowing, that's community.
Yes.
There's collaboration, both way communication, etc.
Yes.
But like if someone comes to the community, it says look, I've got this project, I need an HR, or I need this leader, will you collaborate? So it's also a place where people meet and can do projects, actually, right?
So we do allow external, like we have a simple form on the website where people can post leads. Members sometimes will post leads. Like we have one channel for fractional work and one for jobs other, and we also moderate carefully because people will post wherever. So yeah, like members will come in, and if they need another fractional or even like another, consultant or whatever, they will post and they find each other. But we are very clear that is not it's not our focus, right? We can't guarantee. We don't focus on it. In the early days, I did not spell this out as much as I do now, because I had the idea that, well, first of all, I was figuring things out myself. And then I was like, people may not know what they want, so let them come in and feel it. But then, like, we got a lot of, especially once we went paid, we had a lot of churn because people were coming in for the wrong reasons. And I decided I don't want that. I rather people not join than churn out because they're unhappy. So we very clearly spell out that we are community first and foremost. Like on top of our application, there's like a whole paragraph about who it's for and who it's not for, because we don't want people to join us looking for leads and then leave. Like it's a lot of like logistical headaches. Like we don't need it, you know? And it's just not who we are.
Yeah, but still there is like a section where you can apply as a company and post a job. So yeah.
Yeah,
but you don't want the noise of or the expectation of leads and this transactional
exactly
matter. Yeah, okay. But coming to the point of community and being paid members, so was there like a pressure or resistance of it was free, and then once it became paid, how did you overcome that process?
I'm still working on it. It was a really, first off, it was a very tough decision to make because I really wanted to be able to keep it free. And I worked really hard to try to keep it free. Like that's why I had a partnership team, because I was hoping they could, they could make it profitable with just sponsorship so that I would never have to charge members. But it was just not consistent enough. And I realized that, I hadn't paid myself for 2 years. This costs money. It was getting to the point where I was starting to resent all the time and focus. And I didn't want it to be something that I burned out on or had to like, that it ended up falling apart because I couldn't pay myself. Like I'm not paying myself full time, but I needed to pay myself something, right? And if this is going to be a sustainable, viable thing, and this is the thing I do, it needs to be run like a business. So I made it $10 a month or $100 a year. Recently I increased, like the prices are increasing to 15, but anyone who originally joined and stays active is going to be lifetime 10 and 100. I made that promise and I will keep that promise. So it is very, very affordable. Like, I don't know how that translates to Turkish dollars, but like
it's not so much.
Yeah, it's so affordable. Like for the community that it is, I'm doing it because it needs to be sustainable, not because I'm trying to make a lot of money. You know what I mean? And for 2 years, people kept telling me to charge. So it was very disheartening how few, like it's still a large community, it's growing, but it was disheartening to see how many chose to leave. Like I had hoped that 20 to 30% would stay, 8% stayed. Now we're like at 10% plus whatever of the original. But I've come to realize that human psychology is very strange. Like if I were to start something ever again, I will never do free first, because people told me that there is this, like, we have this weird thing in our brains, or my husband's like this too. Like he told me point blank, if something starts out free, he refuses to pay for it. Like it has nothing to do with the value of the thing. Like if it starts out free, it's just like against something in him, he just refuses to pay. And there are a lot of people that like mentally just anchor on the free and will not pay. So it's human psychology is bizarre. It's a thing.
Yeah, but even if it's not free, even if the fees even if you raise the membership fee, it will have a resistance. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we should think to do the paid version of our community as soon as possible. Then. Yeah, Mustafa says I'm in a 60K member community and it doesn't work. Maybe it's good majority left after all. Well, the value is important. That's what I believe also. So you found your tribe and you turned into a paid membership.
Yes.
And did you solve your professional loneliness?
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
It's I've made some really great friends. I've met some really good people, and it's like, things come up. FRUN is the first the acronym is FRUN. Things come up, and FRUN is the first place I go to myself to pose the question, because I know people will understand. I know that I'll get, like I'm actually looking for a new accountant and attorney for FRUN in my business, because I've outgrown my current ones. I posted it in FRUN. You know what I mean? It's like, I personally, even as the founder, go there to post and ask questions and participate, because these are my people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good to hear, because like for us, I mean, me and Esra, my wife, we work together as a duo.
Oh, nice.
We had this difficulty. We were lonely. We were struggling to explain what fractional leadership was. Then we said, let's turn this into a community. Let's use everyone to express, to learn, to share, to standardize some stuff. And then we've come until now today. But it's difficult. So we're now trying to learn from you.
Thank you. I don't know, you probably know this. I created a site called fractionaldefined.com. Everybody's welcome to refer to it, to link to it, because it's meant to help. As an operator, I hate repeating myself. And at one point I'm like, I'm so tired of saying the same thing over. I'm just going to create a website and send people there.
Well, does FRUN have topics like let's build some agentic AI that explains us some stuff in the community? Is there? It's another buzzword,
on there yet, but I'm sure someone, I don't know. It's funny. It's like if you actually ask Perplexity or ChatGPT about fractional, it knows. Like it's really interesting. If you ask it what fractional is, it has a pretty good idea of what it is. It's the humans that don't always get it.
Yeah. So did you have any struggle explaining what fractional leadership was, or that was never an issue?
Oh my gosh. I've stopped. I think I've become less militant just because it's 3 years in and I'm tired. But I feel like for the first year year and a half, maybe 2 years, I was like, anytime someone said fractional consultant anywhere in the community or anywhere that I saw, I was like, no, please do not confuse the two. Here is how they are different. And I got tired of saying it. I'm sure people got tired of hearing me say it. But yes, there is still so much confusion, even in the US, which is, again, why I created that website. People, there are people out there who don't think it's important to define it or to distinguish it. They just think like we're being silly by labeling it and it doesn't matter what it's called. But I think words matter, and by giving it a name and making the name clear, like if it was the same as consulting, then we wouldn't need a word for it, right? Then it's a synonym. It is not a synonym. It is a distinct thing. And the problem is people aren't using it consistently and they are butchering it. And that's I believe part of the reason why there's so much confusion is because of that. If everybody used it the same way and used it consistently, it would be easier to spread awareness. And you're probably aware of this. There's now the Fractional Leadership Alliance, which I'm a founding member of, and it's a global industry association. And like we've started putting out thought leadership and definitions and everything to help spread awareness globally about what it is and isn't.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. We'd like to talk also and connect with the Alliance, but so since we're early stage, we're still figuring out how to structure ourselves, how to build up the community, because most professionals don't know what really fractional is.
Yeah.
And some of our members are like junior professionals. They want to be fractionals, but most of them are actually practicing it. So we have that difficulty. If you want to be a fractional, come to the community. That's not something very easy for us.
Right.
And we're trying to also attract companies, trying to raise awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy.
Yeah.
And since the fractional business market, let's say, like there isn't a big market like that at the moment, but I mean, there are marketplaces, there are fractional let's say accelerators or teaching how to become like community support communities, but FRUN is more like let's share and learn.
Yes.
And let's connect, because once I started becoming fractional, doing fractional work, it was, I mean, I was busier than before. It was very difficult to explain. Time management was an issue.
Yes.
And I didn't have, it was Esra and me talking to each other, trying to solve things out. Now we're doing it together, like 30 people, but still defining what fractional is, how to build the community, and so how do you measure the members? Like, do you measure the outcomes of the community, or what it what kind of values it gives, other than feedback, direct feedback? Do you measure anything inside the community?
Yeah, we look at posts, posts and engagement metrics. We look at churn and like number joining, leaving, that kind of stuff. But it's also just honestly, it's funny because I am an ops person, so you would think I'm very into metrics, and I am. But with community, it's a vibe. I'm in there, right? you get a sense, and it is a little cyclical, right? Like it gets slower, like in the summer or the end of the year, like, Thanksgiving to like after the new year, like everybody's in vacation mode, right? So it quiets down. But it's like, I look just the other day, like we have two main channels, and I went to see, and to me, like if someone posts a question, like I'm looking how many people respond, right? Like that's what I want to see. Like, are people engaging? We have events, we used to have more people attend events. Now it really depends on the topic, but we also have a resource and record the events, and we know that people watch it afterwards, right? So I don't look so much at the attendees, because I know people, so you have to know your people. You have to know what they value. And my community doesn't like surveys. So I do very few of them because they're not interested in filling out surveys. So I just watch, and and I have channel leaders. So I ask them what do you see, right? So you talk to people, you're in there, you have a feeling for it. Yeah, sometimes, so there are metrics for community, and I'm not saying don't measure, but it's also just like community is a vibe, right? It's like it's home. It's a place where you belong and want to go to and be yourself and feel seen and heard and supported. And how do you measure that, right? It's like,
yeah, it's very difficult to measure it. Yeah, you can't quantify it.
No, you feel it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so so I understand the vibe is good at FrUn.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have channel leaders and community, let's say community builders that help you out for the community.
So
to keep that vibe and that
Yes.
going. Yeah.
So first it was me. At some point, like I have a small team of 3 part-time, lots of automations that help with the moderation and a lot of the things. And at some point I realized it was big enough that we have like functional channels and some location channels. And I started asking for volunteers to lead them, so that there is just like somebody can do events and somebody can maintain like our guidelines within the channels. And honestly, like right now I'm going through like a cleanup of some of the location channels, because I realized that it's actually a worse experience to come in, think there is a channel for your location, and then there's no engagement, than not having one for your channel at all. So I've been cleaning up some of the location channels, because some of them are like too small, and people are just not interested in like engaging at the local level. They engage at the community level. So it's just, it changes. Like it just changes. It's never gonna be the same, because it's about people. People change, and people want different things and at different times.
Yeah, but maybe you could, I don't know if it's true for FrUn, but maybe you could like understand if there is a member to member learning or sharing experience. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, that happens. But we facilitate it, but we don't get involved with it. You know what I mean? It's like, we also have, like, we used to have a member directory in Coda, and now we use an app called Trova, which is in Slack, so it's right there. And it's very easy. Like, you right click, you can see someone's profile, read more about them. We've always had an introductions channel, where people come and introduce themselves. So yeah, we facilitate the one-on-one, like we encourage it, but like we don't get involved in that.
Okay, I see. So yeah, I did a trial membership.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice, but here people don't tend to use Slack so much.
Oh,
it's difficult. It's too too operational. Maybe I don't know. There's some resistance there. There's some friction. Yeah. But we might use Slack or some kind of tool to get people together, because I mean, we're not located in one city. Yeah, we're diverse. So
you
yeah,
definitely want to have somewhere that people can talk easily, right, in between and on their own. And yeah, so I do know that there are places Slack is not as prevalent. So I would say figure out where people are. Like for me and for, a lot of like US professionals, Slack is where we are anyhow for work. And I've stopped joining communities that are not in Slack because I don't want one more place to go to,
yeah,
or have one more app open. So Slack for me was just the natural place. I know, like in some European countries, WhatsApp is the thing. I hate WhatsApp. I don't even I have it, but I don't keep it open. Whenever I've joined a WhatsApp community, it's just so noisy that I'm like, I can't do this.
yeah, same here.
It's like constantly I can't. I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's interesting. I've analyzed some other communities. I also built communities for some brands.
Oh,
It's a
nice.
different kind of business. But the onboarding process at FrUn is very easy. Didn't you get afraid that some people might come and change the vibe, or there are guidelines, but of course I have that kind of let's say issue. Maybe it's something very personal, I don't know, but you can just onboard to FrUn, and then you're there, you can connect with people, join the events, etc. So was it like that from the early beginning, or did it develop?
Well, onboarding has developed, and we actually just simplified it this week because we realized that there's so much, it could be overwhelming. And we're trying to do member ambassadors so that when you join, you have like a buddy, because we've also heard that there's just a lot. If you're not Slack savvy or whatever, it could be overwhelming. So the onboarding does evolve, and we do listen to feedback and try to make it better. But to your point, yes, people can join, get value, and leave. There's nothing we can do about that. If people join for the wrong reason and try to cause, I'm trying to think. I haven't had to kick anyone out since we went to paid. I did kick one or two or three people out when we were free because they were just one person yelled at Tammy, my community lead, like inappropriately, and I'm not gonna tolerate that. Like, he was just crazy. Then one, occasionally people will complain about like I said, we have very strong anti-promotion, anti-spam. So you're not allowed to pitch someone. If you DM someone pitching, that is against the policy, and people will generally come and complain. So I have, if someone posts something and you ask for more information, that's okay, right? That's solicited, but unsolicited is never allowed. So we've occasionally had people who cross the line and members complain, and then I reach out and I give them a warning. And if they acknowledge it and say they'll stop, they can stay. But if they don't acknowledge it or keep doing it, they get kicked out. We haven't had that happen since we moved to paid. I think it only happened 2 or 3 times before. So people will come to us because people want to protect it. So it's a lovely, virtuous cycle, right? People, the right people appreciate what we've built, and they will help maintain it because they appreciate it. So anyone who doesn't belong is going to rise to the top somehow or other, if they misbehave.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a matter of belonging. Yeah. exactly. So there's a question: is Slack or equivalent of it is essential for managing the community? I mean, if there's no Slack, how would you continue the community?
Well, there are other community platforms out there. Like I know there's Circle, there's Mighty Networks, there's other digital ways. I definitely think you need to have some, digital, like, I don't know that LinkedIn is great for it. I know there are LinkedIn groups, right? Like you do need to have a way for members to communicate in between meetings or just to connect. Like we all live digitally, so you need to have some way. I personally love Slack, but there are many other community platforms out there that there's Discord, right? There's so many others.
Yeah. So let's get to the headline of our meeting here. So why do you think then the community is the superpower for fractional leaders, especially for fractional leaders?
Because most of the way we can be successful is through who we know. It is a referral-based business mostly. And that starts with relationships and trust, right? It's not transactional. It's not a quick fix. It's not a quick win. But by developing trusted relationships with other fractionals, when they're working with someone and they need your expertise, they can refer you and bring you in, right? Like I can't, I have hired so many fractional CMOs and CFOs before FRUN existed. I wish FRUN had existed. You know what I mean? It was so much harder because as a fractional COO, those were the two that I brought in most, right? I've occasionally brought in other functions, but it was a lot harder. Like I see people do that in FRUN all the time. They're like, my client is looking for this, right? That's what it's about. It's who you know. It's developing relationships. And also we are this weird hybrids. We are embedded, but we're not full time. We have to know how to be our own. Like we run our own business, but also work for other people, which is not quite like consultants either. So there are things that only other fractionals will understand, right? Like members talk about pricing, talk about scope, talk about proposals, talk about like just yesterday, somebody posted a question about where like the CEO keeps having the UX person do marketing, as opposed to letting her, that's the fractional CMO. So how would they handle it? Like people post questions like this all the time to get like expertise or like tips from others who get it, so it's both belonging, it's both support, it's also professional development. It's so much, it's truly where we can be ourselves and find others like us to help us be our best.
Yeah, that's a really nice answer. It's nice to hear. Yeah, we had some issues about contracts, how to legal side, regulation side, how we could help our members do better contracts and better legal advice. That's an issue for us as well.
Yeah.
And also we also had some questions about having framing the customer. You cannot do that. Like scope matter. Being rigid because since it's not known, it's not very frequent. Customers. I mean, I hear it all the time. They say, I give this service, but they also want this service from us. As a favor. So.
Yeah, no favors.
Uh,
What is favor?
yeah, boundaries, please.
Yes.
Boundaries. Yeah.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah, it's also important inside the community. So
Yes.
that's something I hear from you very deeply, and it's very valuable for us.
And one thing I've learned, and I'm still relearning, is like, it's not going to be for everyone, and that's fine. And I'm not going to be able to please everyone, but like, you have to, like, it has to be for the better of the majority and the community, right? Like, some people don't get it. Some people don't appreciate the boundaries, right? Like, just today, I was having a conversation with a member who posted something and asked for help, but there were links, like, she thought she was doing it for the right reasons, and there were extra links to all her things, and we don't allow any self links except in the promote channel. And because it reads too promotional, like, her intent may not have been promotional, but that's how it reads. And she was pushing back on it, and I explained it, and like, I think I got through to her, and I think she got it. But like, yes, she may have meant well, but we've seen that, like, you people are so funny. You let one person, like, skirt the boundary, and the next person is going to push further and further, and then before you know it, it's noise.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this. The boundary is a very important discipline to practice, and
Yes.
we should all practice it.
Yes.
So I don't have any other questions at the moment.
Okay.
So
are there
thank you very
questions
much. Yeah,
from members?
but maybe some of our people would like to ask some questions.
Sure.
Yeah. If you have any questions, please leave some questions, ask some questions. Yeah, we're still in the phase of building up. So trying to explain to people what fractional leadership is, how we benefit from it, different perspectives for fractional leadership. So there are people who have businesses, do practice fractional, and also have an agency or something else. So since the talent market is having difficult times, I've read that in the UK it's less than 10,000 job postings.
Wow.
Yeah, so people will demand fractional work, and companies will also demand high value and lower budgets. I'm still not okay with that, but
No.
but my perspective is that fractional is a necessity. It's it's going to grow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny you didn't bring up AI because, well, you brought it up.
I don't want to.
Okay, no problem. I won't go there. I won't go there then.
Yeah, but AI is like AI is like I don't know what it's like, but it's used as a tool to explain all the layoffs. It's because of AI.
Yeah,
it's because of AI this will happen, that will happen. No, AI is a reality that we should use, but it's not the reason of something that's happening in our social and business lives. That's my idea.
So here's a true story, and it's crazy, and I agree. Like, I think people are being stupid about what AI is and or is not. So you may have seen this post earlier the week. Like, I've decided to go full time with Fractionals United and no longer take client work myself, except for the FLA, because it just, as a founder, like, I'm learning to be a founder, and it just requires a lot more mental bandwidth, and it's time. But one of the, when I was still looking for fractional work and doing that, one of the, maybe this is why I also decided it. One of the last conversations I had was ridiculous. It was the second-time founder who was hiring a fractional COO, but it wasn't really a fractional COO. It was more like a fractional agent babysitter, because he literally wanted his company to be just him, his developer, and this fractional who would build out a team of agents and manage them. And he didn't want to hire any other people. Those companies are going to like burn out and flame, and then they're going to come running to us to fix all the problems, even if they even get anywhere. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous. Yeah. And there's also another aspect. They say that, you know, agents don't sleep, they don't, you know, they work all the time. They don't have, you know, wages, etc. But they don't consume, they don't contact people, they don't, you know, it's another thing, you know, it's something very new, and we should, you know, all question, I believe, you know.
Well, I am all for automation. I was a workflow consultant too. I have tons of automation, all areas, but automation is consistent and reliable. I don't have to watch it. With agents, like, you need a human in the loop. You can't just let it do something, because I don't think it's at the place where it is 100% consistent and reliable. And you can't just trust it. Like, I don't use any of the AI browsers because I don't trust to connect it to all the things. Like, I have a very locked down Chrome that I do financial stuff. Like, you can't, you know, it's with prompt injection and all the stuff out there, it's dangerous. Like, you have to know, I use AI all the time for like brainstorming, for like tweaking, you know, for other things, but like, it's not the, you know, the magic pill people think it is.
Yeah, I agree. So there's a question for me. How many fractionals are there in Turkey? I don't know. Maybe 30, 40, around 30, 40 fractionals. We found some friends, some people that say, oh, I didn't know I was a fractional, you know. So I was doing fractional work, but I didn't name it that way. So thinking in that scope, it's like around 40 to 50 real fractional leaders that are working. Yeah. So if there are any more questions from us, I'd like to thank you again, Karina.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for us too. So I'm thinking to join FRUN as well.
Okay. Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So thank you very much. If you want to add some last ideas or anything you want to add for us, we're glad to have it.
I saw there was a comment about Slack being very complicated in Gen Z. I think I'm Gen X. I don't remember what I am, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And like I said, we all, at least here, we all use it for work. Most companies use it that work remotely, so we're used to using it. And you know, I do think it's important to have some digital tool. It may be different things for different countries, but you know, for us, Slack works.
Yeah. And since nearly most businesses are turning also to async work, they're working differently. Some tools are needed. That's what I think also. So thank you very much, Karina.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so